Horror is a growing genre which keeps gaining more and more popularity in today's society, especially in the video game field. Many indie game designers are tapping into this new popularity to create great games. However, there is a special genre of these horror games that has been growing exceptionally. These games are created with a popular engine called RPG Maker. There are many versions of this software currently. One of the most intriguing points of these games is that most or all of the images in them are completely pixelated, much like you would see from an old Pokemon game. This poses an interesting question. With all the fantastic imagery most horror games use to scare us, how do these games manage to accomplish instilling the same fear within us? Most of the recent horror games that have come out rely on flashing, terrifying images to scare their audiences. However, they have another set of weapons that this new genre of horror game uses to their full potential. From my observation of these games, they play up two factors immensely: the music and sound effects, and the twisted storylines. The sound effects are what give us the classic jump scares that most horror games have. Many of these games come with a message saying to play it in the dark with headphones. The with headphones bit is so that the noises become louder to your ears as well as closer. This makes loud sounds like glass breaking or screams a lot more effective when scaring players. This, combined with an occasional flash of some pixelated monster or light in a dark room, is enough to achieve your very classic and common jump scare that you can expect to find in almost any horror game. The better jump scares that you will find in these games will slowly build up with sound effects, music, and tension, sometimes even making you forget that a jump scare could be waiting just around the corner. That way, the audience will be unprepared for the shock and be even more frightened when the jump scare finally happens. These said jump scares are classics in these games. They tend to be a dime a dozen. Another aspect of these games that sets them apart is their use of puzzles. While most horror games you find are survival, these games are almost all chock full of puzzles instead of the classic running from monsters. These puzzles can range from simple and plain all the way up to completely gruesome and nearly impossible. These are the parts that make the game fun and challenging for the player. Where these games really shine is their stories. Their stories are cleverly made to get you hooked into the characters and want to know what's going on, telling you enough to keep you baited and keeping the rest secret to keep you going, usually coming to a horrific end. Sometimes they even have several endings you can get, so when you go back to play it again, you get a completely different story. That clip from the game Ib is an excellent example of how they can create a gruesome story in a matter of minutes. Even the imagery in the small film is rather loose, like crayon drawings, instead of the detailed monsters that most games would rely on. Apply this to the full-length games, and you have a gruesome, pixelated ride of monsters, madness, and horror.